Hello and welcome to another video about Europa Universalis Project Caesar. Project Caesar. We're going to be calling it EU5, let's be honest. Let's put away the pretense. There's like a 3% chance that we're wrong here. Let's just go with calling it EU5 until we're told otherwise. Now, I'm making this video because I have a couple of things to say about the map. There are a couple of, I wouldn't say issues, but questions that I have about it. And I think, to start off with, we are going to go to this map right here. This is the map that was released with Tinto Talks number 2. And it is a map of Uppland, the region in Sweden where the capital of Sweden is, Stockholm. And now, we can see very clearly that this map is quite stylized. There's things that I don't like about it, like how the border here is very, like, it goes dark, but not in any kind of meaningful or understandable way. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of these hashed lines in the water. But what I want to point out with it, mostly, is that I think this means that we're getting an Atlas map mode. Now, I will say why I think that, then I'm going to show you the Atlas map mode from Imperator, which is the only game that map mode exists in, to my knowledge. And then I'll go into why. So basically, what we have here is completely flat map, completely what I think kind of feels pretty paper map. There is quite a bit of, I don't know if I would say issues, but there's the coastline here around the lake looks awkward. It looks weird. It doesn't look like a proper terrain map or anything like that. A lot of people were speculating that this was the political map mode, and I personally really hope that they're wrong. I also believe that they're wrong, and that is for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I think this map confirms the existence of road networks within this game, within EU5. Because of here, we have the road running from Uppsala to Stockholm, to Södertälje, to Nyköping. This is pretty obvious to me as a road. It looks exactly like the roads that we have in Imperator's Atlas mode. The fact is we have a lot of these artsy style drawings of forest trees and such. And that is also something I think is indicative of more of an Atlas map mode rather than political or terrain map modes. And before I go on further, let me go and show you Imperator. Let me show you what Atlas map mode looks like in that game. So, I've loaded up. We're here with the Seleucid Empire. Let's zoom in a little bit. Right now I have it in terrain map mode, which I also think that EU5 is going to have. I hope that it does, but here is also kind of where some of my concerns lie. But if I want to bring it over into Atlas map mode, we can see here, firstly, if you notice the mountains, they all kind of shrink to be flat until you zoom in enough. If I move my mouse to be a little bit, more panned down, you can see that they are flat. It's like a paper map that is just squished onto the ground. And we can see these black dotted lines are the roads that I believe we saw in the Atlas map mode from Tinto Talks. I would very much hope that is the case and that we are not actually seeing there the political map mode, because I quite like the political map mode that we have in Imperator. Personally, I think it's the best looking map that Paradox has ever made. Bar none, honestly. I think this map is gorgeous. This is completely unmodded, this is vanilla, and the map looks great. It looks better than CK3, which came out after it. It looks better than Victoria 3, which came out after it. And I don't know why, per se. I think I know why, as in it looks better because of the aesthetics of it. It's brighter, it's got more detail, and honestly, I very much enjoy the fact that you can see through the colors that you make on the map. Like, I'm in political map mode here, not even in terrain. and I can see the mountains, I can see the hills, I can see the deserts. Like, the terrain is somewhat visible beneath the political map mode. I really like that. I know some people don't. It's a personal thing, I guess. A lot of people I know like to play in terrain map mode, which obviously you can see a lot more of the terrain. You can see the color of the terrain, and the color is just around the border, with it getting fainter and fainter as you move out to go back to the full colored in map mode. And then when you zoom in, you could barely see the color at all, if at all. I hope that we have this sort of distinction in EU5. It was a fantastic innovation that Imperator brought, and I really, really hope to see it back. But now, let's go back to the map mode. Yeah, this is Atlas, and I also kind of forgot to show you really Atlas very much, but yeah. I feel like this is what we're seeing, right? This is Atlas, and so is this. That's my thoughts. Take them or leave them, I guess. I don't think this is political map mode. The other thing, and the thing that actually does kind of worry me somewhat, is this image right here. This is the cultural image that we saw with the Tinto Talks number 3. And while I have absolutely no problem with the hashed lines, I think that all makes entirely enough sense. Obviously, if you have in this location, province, whatever, a minority of Gujarati within a Maratha province, then we'll see these hashed lines. It makes sense, and maybe if they'd shown somewhere that wasn't India, it would look less messy. But India is a very interesting place for a cultural melting pot. There's a lot of different cultures, there's a lot of different languages, so it looks a little bit messy to the eye. Maybe if we'd looked somewhere else, it wouldn't be quite so visually stimulating, let's say. But the thing that worries me about this map is, again, something to do with undulations. Let's go back to Imperator for just a moment, and I will pop over into the cultural map mode right here. And immediately, well, first of all, you can't see the cultural minorities unless you click on one of the cultures and you can see them in other areas. But the one thing that I can see immediately is I can see these mountains. I can see all of these mountains within Persia, and yeah, I'm in the cultural map mode. I very much hope that when we get EU5, we still can see this. I don't want a flat paper map with no context, with no texture, let's say. I would like to see the map beneath the map mode that we're looking at. Always. Without fail. So, that's my little gripe with this map. Now, I would like to move back to this world map and talk a little bit less about something that I'm concerned with, but more of something that I have a theory with, maybe. So, we know, for an absolute fact, undeniable, complete knowing it, 100%, that EU5, or Project Caesar, will have a warfare system that involves moving units in locations on the map. Obviously, that's fantastic news. Vic 3 fans in the bin, we don't care about you. This is great news. And looking at this map, obviously, we see lots of little passageways. The terrain is a lot more blocking than it is in EU4. While we have in EU4, obviously, a large wasteland Sahara, and we have a couple of passageways, here we have a lot of thin passageways that crisscross around, going to the various oases and such. And I think it looks really cool. But I do have a little concern that it may impact warfare quite a bit. Especially as well, if you're looking at America with the Appalachian Mountains, there are a lot of passageways through these Appalachian Mountains. Were there that many that an army could go over in this period? I'm not so sure. I feel like there wasn't that many passages over in this period for an army. Obviously, I'm thinking merchants, individuals, baggage trains, like something small, compact, not a huge amount of people, totally could make that journey, with risk, of course. But an army, I think that might have been a little bit tougher. But if we have a look into a more zoomed in map, here we have northern India, and we're looking at the Himalaya mountains. And if we are to understand that each one of these little darker areas is the passageway with which our troops can pass through, then each of these needs to be locations. Because armies, as we've learned here, are moving units in locations on the map. When this was written, we were in Dev Diary number 2. So we didn't know about the breakup of land into locations as the smallest unit. I think that came in number 3, if I remember rightly. Saying that I might not remember rightly. No, I tell a lie. This was that. Ignore what I just said. We know that locations are the smallest unit, and we know that armies are tied to locations. So, if we have a look back here, armies are going to have to be able to pass through each one of these gaps, because that's what they're there for. Unless these are all one big wasteland and there is no passage through, other than like a couple. But then I don't know why it would be shown in this format. I don't think that is the case. I will say as well, I don't know what map mode this is, but the fact that we're just getting wasteland and non-wasteland and no undulation in the map is something that worries me. I do want to see my undulations, and I don't see it here, so that's a little bit worrying. But also, I would like you to imagine this is you playing as Hindustan, as Bharatas, the Mughals, Delian Empire, whatever country you have unified the north of India under. And you're at war with somebody who is trying to cross through the Himalayan mountains and come into your country from there. Are you going to be placing forts on each and every single one of these locations? Because I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that is incredibly optimistic or incredibly overbearing to be able to, or to have the requirement to place that many forts in these locations. So what I'm thinking is this might indicate some kind of more in-depth supply system, because it's got to be one of two things, really, as far as I can tell. Either an army is totally free to walk through this area, come through these passages, and come into your land, right? Or they're not. If they come through this land, either they're going to be stopped by you having a fort in every single one of these places, or they're going to be stopped by the terrain. They're going to be stopped by it being so prohibitively expensive in manpower through attrition that going through here is just not desirable or feasible. And I really want to believe that the second option is the one that we're going with. I don't want to have to garrison fortresses all across this northern border. I really want to see a supply system that would make making this route with an army just impossible. But I don't know, maybe there's a third way that I'm not thinking of, and I would like to hear your thoughts about what you think that might be. So yeah, those are my concerns with the map. These are my thoughts that I've been having when I've been looking at these maps, because I've been poring over them, guy. I like me some maps, and yeah, so I've been looking at them, and those are the thoughts that I've been having while looking at them. I would like to know your thoughts, so please do leave them in the comment section below. My previous Tinto Talks video did really, really well, and yeah, it'll be like I'd like to see that continue. So yeah, likes and all that are really appreciated. And I will see you in the next video that I do about Tinto talks and EU5. Bye bye.